Morning, good day, good evening, viewers from across the world. I want to welcome you to another broadcast of the Competitive Edge. In the event that you're joining me for the first time, I want to say I have three dynamic personality in studio. I have Shivani. She's a project management specialist, practitioner. We have Paul, who is a financial specialist, and we have Peter, who is a master plan specialist. And today we're going to be looking at a pretty interesting topic. Today we're going to be talking about money, money, money. So, people across the world, you're spending money, you're earning money. But I want to ask you this question: do you really understand money? I want to encourage you to stay tuned because the possibility exists that you may be hearing things about money that you might have never heard before. And also, learning new ways and how you can use money or learning new things about money may put you in a position of strength to build wealth. And that's the one of the ultimate dreams that we have here for you. Today's program comes to you with the kind compliments of the bestseller portal. And when I come back, or what I will do, I will ask my theme to introduce themselves, and when we come back from the commercial break, we will definitely be looking at the bestseller portal. So I want to start with Shivani. Shivani, for those who might be listening to the program for the first time, can you give us a short introduction? Can you tell us who is Shivani and, what makes Shivani Shivani? All to you, Shivani.
Thanks, Gary. So, who am I? That's Peter's favorite word, right? The who am I, right?
Yes.
Favorite line for everything. So, I continue, right? I continue. That's my first question then. Who am I? I believe in synergy. The sum is greater than its parts. In order to be very successful and really you have to read what success is all about. Everybody will think success is different for everyone, and we have to remember that too. Look at everything as a whole, holistic thinking. I do not I don't appreciate just looking at one aspect. I can't do it. So it's synergy where the sum is greater than its parts. So you might ask me, well, how did this happen? How you started to think like that, Shivani? I would say project management really, really helped me to do that. You need to see the big picture, as we say, and then you add up everything as a whole. Whether you are leading a team, whether you are teaching a class, that's how I take it. I look at the outcomes and you work backwards for that. So, in a nutshell, project management all the way. Thanks, Gary.
All right, thanks for that share, Shivani. And I can say that Shivani has a tremendous passion for project management, and I'm so impressed with her skill set. I'm going to come to Paul. Paul is a financial specialist, and Paul, can I ask you to do the same? Tell us what makes Paul Paul.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, everybody. I'm one of the owners of Patriot Business Finance Consultants, and we can provide solutions for any financing need that a business requires. Equipment financing, real estate financing, cash flow programs like factoring or purchase order financing. We can help you raise 500,000 to 2 million for small seed money for existing businesses, or money for larger projects with SEC compliant capital raises. That describes what we do, but the most important thing would be, I guess, how we do it. So we care. We care for the best outcome, and we will make the best outcome happen for you through research, data. I like how Gary says that. We have the information. We know who the best lender that plugs into what your situation is. Least expensive money first. That's a really nice way to say it. Everybody wants least expensive money, and that's what we want to provide to you. So that wraps me up in a nutshell.
All right, thanks for that share, Paul. And Paul is the guy that has the money bag. He has the money bag. So you're going to be learning so much more today about the money bag and how you can access the money bag to grow and scale your business. I now come to Peter. Peter is the guy that would say to you, if you don't have a master plan, you ain't ready for life and living. So, Peter, all to you, my friend. You're mute.
Yo, there we go. There we go. All right. Good morning, guys, and good morning to our listening audience. I like what Shivani said a while ago about the whole is much more important than just the singular components that are a part of the whole, and that is a something that I learned from a book that I read several years ago by Stephen Covey, um, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. And that one book was the book that totally transformed the way how I think. That, as she said about it's by going into the future, see what the project is all about, and then come back to the present, and you work your way forward. And that is a concept of master planning, having an ability to see from the wide perspective of what you are working at, what you are looking back, what you want to accomplish. That is life in general. That can be applied to just about any and everything, and it is important that we do it. So, what we focus on in our projects is four dimensions actually, and we called it the four dimensions to transform your life. So we encourage individuals to have a personal life master plan. We encourage individuals to go to have a family life master plan, a community life master plan, and then you tie everything together with a corporate master plan. That's the four dimensions, and that is just how life operates in general. How we actually put that in practice, we have a system by the name of the Legacy Chronicles Publishing Program, where we empower individuals to take their life story to transform it into a book, into a course that can be utilized in a seminar, in a conferences, and in conferences. And we empower individuals now to be recognized, professionals who have their skill sets, even individuals, the ordinary individual who have gained some success in life. We can assist them to be recognized as a consultant, a coach, an author, a public speaker, and a publisher. And that, in essence, I believe that individuals, and as I'm just gonna say it again, you need a plan. If you're not planning, they say you're planning to fail. So in everything that we have to do, we have to have a plan that we can act upon before we actually step out.
All right, and there you had it from Peter. If you don't have a plan by default, you've already planned to fail. And I really trust that none of my audience is planning to fail. All right, you have too much of brain power around you right now for you to set yourself up for failure. Now, for those who may not know me, I like a Toastmaster. I wear many hats, and I am a Toastmaster by training. And I'm an author of multiple books. And one of my last book is titled Master the Sales Communication Process. And I want to show you how you can get a copy of this book. I want to encourage member of the audience to begin to get familiar with this website. It's called the Bestseller Portal. All you need to do is to type in bestsellerportal.org, and you can go to products. And when you go to products, on your left hand side, you will see a drop down. There's a menu of drop down here. You can click on ebooks. And when you click on ebooks, you would see some of the books myself and my two children has written. And you can see there is 7 volumes of the book that is here being displayed right now. Not one, not two, not three, but 7 volume of the master sales communication process. So you can probably call me a serial writer. I just love it. And there are multiple books for you to get here in the master the sales communication process. And the very first volume, you will learn about a concept that we call mastering your MVO, which is your minimum viable offer, most viable offer, and your maximum viable offer. As a rising star in business, you need to understand a whole lot of what is being mentioned here. And why? Because we see many rising stars. You tend to go at your maximum with limited human, technical, and capital resources, and that undermine the chance for success. So I want to encourage you to get the book. Outside of getting the book, I want you to do this for me. At the top of the website, you will also see membership. Membership. I just want you to click on membership, and I want you to become a member. This is free. All right. You just need to give us your name, your email address, your phone number. Tell us about your interest, any other thing that you want to mention. You can go right ahead and tell us that and send this in, submit this in. Now, what are some of the benefits of doing this? On our platform, you will be exposed to programs like the High Net Worth Investors Guide. Now, the High Net Worth Investors Guide, it's a very unique program. It really helps you to understand how to prepare yourself for success. If you want to know more about this, you can also go to the website. You just press on more, and the second you press on promotion, and on the second item, you will see this. The High Net Worth Investors Guide is what's going to help you to understand how to prepare yourself for success. But after preparation, what is the next stage? It's how to apply yourself after success. And if you apply yourself in the right way, guess what happened? You will gain a level of success. You now have to learn how to manage that. And beyond management, you will also learn how to expand your wealth. So when you become a member, these are some of the things that you can benefit from. You will be exposed to free training. The cost of these training is 50,000 US dollars. But guess what? We will sponsor you. All right, we will sponsor you and completely sponsor you. All right, you have other programs like the Master the Sales Communication Process, and if you're in business, you need to understand how to sell. All right, and there's so many different aspects to that. So, with that being said, that is a little bit about me. All right, so with that, we're going to now take a short break. And when we come back, we will be discussing everything money. All right. The big question, what is the face of money? All right. What is the face of money? To say that money is a medium of exchange, is a unit of account, and it's a store of wealth. We will examine that from an academic standpoint and also a layman standpoint, because it is so important for you to understand money. Money. All right. So we'll now take a commercial break, and we will be right back.
The High Net Worth Investor's Guide, where art meets science. Explore tools, processes, and systems that empower you to accelerate your journey to a 7-figure business. Access smart funding solutions for 6 and 7-figure enterprises. Harness capital for multiple income streams. Master the art and science of debt mitigation to build wealth faster. Experience comprehensive business support to propel your success at a budget that suits you. The High Net Worth Investor's Guide is tools, processes, and systems that influences success. Portal Summit. Are you a rising star in business academia, public speaking, sports, law, medicine, or an influencer? Becoming a best-selling author can open doors to connect with top figures in various fields. Discover how the Bestseller Portal team can assist you. 1. Assisting clients in the creation, refinement, design, and publication of their books, biographies, and autobiographies. 2. strategizing and executing promotional campaigns while navigating global markets and linguistic diversity to enhance the visibility of your literary works. 3. Nurturing our clients' transformation into esteemed public speakers and influential thought leaders. 4. Elevating your books into dynamic digital learning content. 5. Cultivating multiple streams of income from your literary works and beyond. Enroll today for the prestigious Bestseller Portal Annual Summit and position yourself as an eminent authority and trailblazer within your chosen sphere. Business with 10X Branding and Marketing LLC. Our expert team specializes in enhancing your brand's visibility and connecting you with your ideal clients. We employ strategies that increase reach, leaving a lasting impact and driving client conversion. Trust and credibility are vital in businesses and excel in building them even with a limited budget. Our cost-effective approaches ensure you get the best results without overspending. Ready to boost your business cash flow? Contact us at 332-235 T99 and let 10X Branding and Marketing LLC guide you to success. Our focus is on elevating your visibility, which directly translates to growth. Experience the power of effective branding and marketing with us and witness your business thrive.
All right, welcome back to another broadcast of the competitive edge. Today, of course, we are looking at the face of money. And I want to begin by giving a brief but high level overview of money. The statement is made that money is a medium of exchange, it's a unit of account, it's a store of value, and occasionally referred to as a standard of deferred payment. What I will attempt to do is to explain money in terms of a medium of exchange, a unit of account, and also a store of wealth. When we refer to money as a medium of exchange, in the simplest of sense, what it is saying is that you can use money to purchase goods and services. And this is something that people across the world are familiar with. This is the element of money that most people are familiar with. Secondly, you have unit of account. And what this means, it means that money can be divided into multiple parts. You can take $1 and you can break it into 4 25s, which will give you back another whole, or $100, you can break it into 4 parts of 25 to give you back that whole. Simple example. It is countable, you can count it, and it is fungible. And what does fungible mean? And let me give a brief explanation in terms of fungibility of money. What this means is that money in itself is interchangeable. For example, you may trade one currency for another currency and still have the value in the money. So money is used for trading. In the financial market, in the stock exchange market, you have a lot of this that is taking place, so it's important to understand all of this about money. So as we look at money, the face of money, it's important to not just see money in terms of a medium of exchange, but it's to see all of these different aspects of money. The last concept that I will look at here is money as a store of value. And what exactly is this saying? It's saying that, we can store money in the bank, we can save money at home in our personal safekeeping, and as we save that money, the value of that money, in most cases, the value is safe. All right, but that's going to bring us into talking about inflation. I don't want to get there today because with inflation taking place, the store of value, it is depreciating. But however, once you save money into the bank and you save money at home, it's a store of value. You can retrieve that and you can spend it in the future to acquire goods and services or to put into investment and so forth. So that is a simple interpretation of what money is. But in today's program, we may most likely will go deeper into an analysis of money, money. The big question that we want to ask today: does people really understand money? And I say this from the standpoint. Only last week, I think we were talking about the fact that, oh, when we interviewed the the U.S. Marine veteran, we were talking about money, and one of the things that we did mention is that less than 50% of Americans have $400 for an emergency savings account, and that's a very large population because the American population today is approximately 370 plus million. All right, so we're talking in excess of 150 million persons in one geography that do not have a solid emergency savings. Is that a reflection of how much people know about money and how much more needs to be learned about money in terms of putting people in a much better financial position and strength? I'm going to pause here for now, but there is so much more to money that we can talk about, and I will open up um, some more about money as we go deeper into today's program. But what are your thoughts, my friend? I mean, I know Paul is an expert in terms of financial instruments. He provide, the much needed capital to businesses. I know Shivani is an expert in project management, and I see project management being so important to not only accessing but managing money, because in the absence of a good manager, monies can go to waste. Peter's going to be the one that's going to talk to you about having a master plan. So even before you take that money or get money, whether debt or equity or whatever that is, you should have a master plan. I think one of the main reasons that most people have financial challenges is largely because there is no master planning. All right, there's no master plan that is really showing you how to cash flow optimize. So I'm going to open it up there and just ask you guys to give me your thoughts on today's topic, the face of money on the competitive edge. Over to you, my friends. Paul, you're mute.
I'll jump in real quick because my answer is pretty short. If we didn't have money, what would we do? It would be the barter system, like we used to do a long time ago. I mean, money's existed for almost 6,000 years, right? But before that, it was the barter system. I'll trade you this, and the barter system still exists. So those are our only two choices. What is money? I'm going to really just answer the question you asked me yesterday. If money had a face, what would it look like? I think it would look like the person who is spending it. It's because money is just a thing. It's like a hammer. It's a
Yes, a
thing.
two. Yeah.
Yeah, everything is just a thing. Money is a thing that we use for a purpose. So it would look like the person who's spending it. If that person is putting it to good use, it's going towards good things. If he's like laundering money or buying missiles with it to blow up planes, then that's a very bad use. Go ahead.
Paul, that's
Yeah.
a profound statement that you made. If money had a face, it would be like the person who spent it. What comes to mind is that, you can remember the genie, the genie bottle where you rub it and
Oh
whatever you
yeah.
want. You have all
Yeah.
those wishes. The same thing happen with money. When you understand money, how you spend it is exactly what's going to happen. I like that point. Go on, Paul.
Just what came to mind when you asked me the question.
Yeah.
And man, it's like there's people who are really good with it. There's somebody who can take $10 and turn it into, well, here's somebody that I met, and here's his story. He took $400 and turned it into $40 million. with with selling T-shirts, and it blew up because of the people he knew. And he's selling to colleges. He's being endorsed by celebrities, like things like that. He took $400 and turned it into that. So some people are really good with it, and then some people are really bad with it, and then you got the people in the middle, like my parents. My parents, middle class, they spent all their money, and that's a good thing. It wasn't a big estate. Let God rest, rest in peace. And it's good because why would you even want to do that? Spend it. They left $80,000 in everything instead of saving it and denying themselves so that their kids could have money. Make your kids go get your own money. Enjoy take it with you. It doesn't matter. Leave them with something. I'm rambling. I'm trying to make it all make sense, you guys, but I think money's just a thing that can be used for good or bad.
Money is the genie.
Yeah.
The only thing, it gives you more than 3 wishes, right?
Yeah.
It depends
Well,
on what you
maybe.
wish for.
Maybe. If you spend it all at once, then no.
Yeah.
You get one wish.
All right. Shivani, Peter, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Ladies first.
I was going to say, this time I was going to allow you to speak before me. Right. So, what's coming to mind with money and the relationship really with projects? I experience this all the time. You have a project, you have no money, you have no project, you have no project.
Right. Right.
So,
Exactly.
we really, really need to have a process, to acquire your funding for your projects. And as I was listening to Paul and yourself, Gary, it just reminded me of one of my projects. It's an innovation project that we are rolling out hopefully in April this year, 2024, not this year, in 2024. But in order for this innovation project to really come to life, I needed funding. We needed a small team of us. We needed funding. We needed money, as you correctly said.
Mhm.
We needed
Yeah.
money to buy equipment. I mean, it's not a $1 million project, but it will end up into a very,
A
very
million
big
dollar
area,
project.
and millions, right? Not $1 million alone, right? So, because we project management people don't see for today. You see in today for tomorrow and beyond, right? So it will
Exactly.
end up. So you start with a small thing that you have analyzed properly, and then you see how it can evolve. So, what stands out to me in this conversation is your ability to acquire the funding. And how do you acquire the funding? You may have to go to a funding agency. So, in this case, a funding agency did give us, really, it's a team of us, some funding, some seed money, as Paul will say, some seed money. It's actually a grant. It's a grant that we have acquired. But if I didn't have that grant, all of my beautiful business cases will just look nice on paper. So money needed to come. Otherwise, this is not going to work. And something that I would like, all the viewers and everybody to really understand is it starts with an idea, and then you need to have the proper connections. And I love Paul's story where he mentioned, $400 you could turn into $4 million. And people may think that's impossible, but that's not impossible, that's possible. We make it impossible because you don't believe it possible. So it's up to us again. So start with your idea. It is not into a project as yet until, for me, it is not into a project unless you get the funding for that. And what also got me with Gary is I saw he was doing pitch deck, and that's how my relationship started with Gary, with pitch. And for me to get this funding, I needed to create a pitch, and that's what we did. And actually, I remember the funding agency just a couple of days ago we had a follow-up meeting, and they were so impressed because they said, Shivani, I've never seen a pitch like that before, right? It was spectacular. So it all starts with money, getting the money, but you may ask yourself, how do you get the money? You have to prepare a pitch. It's not just no, well, I think I could do it. You have to prepare something as a pitch. So that's my 2 cents, or probably 5 cents so far. And I'll come back again. Paul, over to you.
I love that presentation, Shivani. Without money, the project can be compromised.
Yeah.
And I think that there's so much more that can be said about money and capital acquisition. I'll talk briefly about that just now, but I'm going to go to Peter, the guy that talks about the master plan. And you definitely need to think money as part of your master plan. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. So my definition of what money is, I like what Paul says. Money is the face of whoever is spending it, and that is classical. As we look at the, bring a face to what money is, because I would say something similar, that money is the measurement of the value that we present to the marketplace. What value are we bringing to the marketplace? That's what money looks like, to every individual. So like that individual that Paul mentioned, that is good with money, they were able to bring a certain value to the marketplace that they can duplicate in such a way by which, the community, could benefit. And if we should look at individuals who have done extremely well financially, have attained financially success, who have attained financial success, why is that? It is simply just the value that they present to the marketplace. So if you bring no value to the marketplace, then there is no value. Not that you're not successful. You may not be financially successful. There's tons and tons of people who are very successful in other ways, and in so many ways. But what we're talking about today is financial success, so success in the area of money. So if you want to have money, then you have to present a value to the marketplace, something that the marketplace feels is highly essential, that they can benefit from. But what we can also say is what money is not. And when I discovered this, several years ago, it began to put my focus in a different trend. When I discovered that, the piece of paper that we have in our hands, the piece of paper that we use, it's not money. And I think that is a problem with most humanity. They have this piece of paper and they think that it is money. It represents money, but it is not money. And Paul mentioned earlier of there was a time when that piece of paper did not exist, but money still existed because money represented the exchange of value. It was difficult in those times for the exchange to take place, because how do you equate one proposal in the barter system to measure up with another proposal? How do I want rice, somebody wants chicken. How do we make that value between the chicken and the rice, for there should be a level of exchange? So that is what the piece of paper now comes to say. Okay, let's put a value. You can get so many pieces of paper to match this, and we can see if we can have a system by which we all can communicate. So if I transfer my piece of my chicken into the amount of this piece of paper, then now I can take these pieces of paper and I can talk to somebody. We can negotiate on along that line. But then, that the piece of paper needs to be backed by a certain substance in the marketplace, that is, and we can go into the history of money. But what we don't want to say is, what we want people to understand is what money is not. And then we now can, deal with, talk a little bit of what Chevanet says. Now we now understand that fiat currency, that piece of paper that we now call, that we use to store money, it only stores money, right? And Gary went through the various definitions, academic definitions of what it is. So it stores money. It's the medium of exchange, and it is tradable. So now that we have that piece of paper, now, as Chevanet mentioned, that without that fiat currency, then most things, do not get off the ground as it is. But Gary asked a very important question. Um, why don't people have enough money? And I think that there is a mindset issue. There is something that goes on in our psyche, and a large part of it is that people thinks that money is evil. And because of those kinds of mindset, people just want, there is something in the way how individuals think that says to them that I just want enough to get by. And that kind of operation in people mind cause them to not present the level of value that can be presented in the marketplace that will bring abundance in their lives. So the face of money, I'm just going to go back to what Paul says, is what the person whose hand it is, they become the face of money.
All right. Well, I like that. When I look at Paul, I see money because I know he has the money bag. So that's one face of money. Paul, you're not laughing, my brother.
Well,
You have the money. All right.
I go get it from sources. We source it. I don't got it all sitting here in the
We
backyard.
want to hear now. When I'm ready for money, I come to you. I see money. I see the face of money right there.
You know,
I thought you were going to say it is me. I mean, come on, Peter. Look at Peter. I thought you'd say it's me.
Okay, Shivani, I see the money face there too.
Oh, right, good.
All right, guys. But a lot of important things were said, and indeed we can draw the conclusion that money has many faces. And to justify the statement, I'm gonna just give a few other examples. From an academic standpoint, when we talk of money, you can acquire money from what we call a bank loan, which is called the debt. And I do believe that a lot was said. I truly do not believe that enough is known about capital acquisition. So you have debt, you have equity, which is another face of money, and you have private equity, you have public equity. And the public equity is when you go IPO, which is an initial public offer. And these are all academic terms that when you have an interest in understanding and learning about money, you can look at. You also have LBO, which is a leveraged buyout. And you might be asking yourself, what does this has to do with the face of money? And I'm going to give some explanation very shortly. Let me try to expand a little bit on some of the points I made earlier. Money in terms of bank loan. As Shabadi said, you're doing a project, you don't have the money. One option that you have, you can take a bank loan. If you have a strong project, I know Paul can tell you exactly another way in which you could access capital for that. But for us, as we continue to say, to access a bank loan, there is what we call a pre-qualification criteria. All right. And debt financing also may come in many forms. You may have the bank loan, you may have the overdraft, you have these different type of financial instruments that could be used. Again, we believe that one of the reasons people struggle with a project is because they're not accessing money, and they struggle to access money because they do not understand the multiple faces and the multiple opportunities and access points to capital. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing this discussion today, is to really help you to understand that perhaps you need to reach out to Paul, myself, uh, to learn something more about financial instruments, because all the banks want to allocate monies to you once you reach their pre-qualification criterias. I'm not going to go deep into the pre-qualification criteria today, but all the banks would want to give you money. Private equity investors, and they want to give you money also. All right, but you need to reach those pre-qualification criteria. As we go deeper into these discussions, we will help you to understand pre-qualification criteria. um, Public equity, which is going to the IPO, your business has to be built up in certain way for you to access or be ready for, go IPO, to go at the initial public offer. But let me talk briefly today about LBO and what it has to do with money. LBO is a leverage buyout. And now in the developed world, leverage buyout normally comes in a negative connotation, because a big company see you as a competition. What they're going to attempt to do is to perhaps acquire shares in your business, get the majority shareholder, buy you out. They may even approach you and they may ask you to buy you out. But what I've also seen is that many persons, in the interest to raise capital for their projects, what you think to do? They build a brand that they do not really have interest in, and they build that brand up so strong that it starts to attract public interest. But they are building up that brand specifically to take it to IPO. All right. Sorry, specifically build it up to take it to LBO, which is to leverage it in a leverage buyout. Why? Because all they want is the capital, the capital to go into their major project. So let's take Shivadi case. You have a signature project that you know can generate multiple of millions of dollars. So you perhaps don't want to go to bank loan, you perhaps don't want to go to equity, but you have a project that you think can be a high flyer. And you build that project up, you sell that project to your leverage bidder, and you take those funds and you put those funds into your project. Is a way of raising capital. All right. So I just want to throw that out. All right. I'm going to go through a couple other things as we look at the face of money. You have margin acquisition. All right. That's the face of money, because you may need money to move a project forward, but you don't have the money. But instead of going to the bank, you do a merger. You find somebody that is thinking along that line, that see wisdom in what you're doing. And like Shivani spoke about early on, the pitch. All right. By making a strong pitch, they buy into your project and they come alongside you. So the person who's coming with a merger and acquisition, they come with money, they come with market access, they come with a whole host of other things to help you achieve a better project outcome. I'm saying all of this because I've seen many businesses for 5 years and 10 years and 15 years and 20 years. When I call all these years, I sound very old, right? But I've seen this happen where people struggle to raise capital because they do not fully understand the face of money. All right. And Paul make a very strong point. Money can be what you make it. There's a whole lot of, that can be said here. How about joint venture partnership? You don't have the money, but you know someone else that has the money. So you talk to them about a joint venture partnership. All they're bringing is the money. You got the brain, you got the team to execute on the project, and all is going to make money. All right. They put the money and they're going to get, perhaps your way of negotiating this thing is to say, hey, financial institution is going to give you 0.1% interest, APR on your investment, but we're going to give you 5% annual return. And that could be a motivation to get a joint venture partner to come on board. I can go on and on and on in terms of what the face of money looks like and sources that you can pull money from. The last that I'm going to give here is a technical one, which we call SWF, is sovereign wealth funds. Now, in most cases, SWFs or sovereign wealth funds come from the governments. Big countries, they have a lot of monies, and what they do, they may identify what is known as global intermediary and boutique intermediary. The global intermediaries we might call the Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgan, and those big um, financial institution. And what they do, they deposit their funds into those global intermediaries or boutique intermediaries. And what those fund managers do, they either reinvest it back into their portfolios, or they break it up and they make it accessible to private equity investors like Paul and like some of his other colleagues who are taking monies and putting those monies to work. So understanding the whole landscape, the face of money, and believe me, I just scratching the surface here in terms of what the face of money can really look like and all the different sources that money can come from. On the SWF, um, I also see state can set up their own uh, investment portfolios where citizens can benefit from that. And they can even get higher return once those portfolios are set up properly by the right managers. So this is a deep subject matter. It's going to take us probably a whole year. Me and Paul to take if it's going to take me a year, it's going to take probably me and Paul another 3 years to go go into all of this and discuss this. But I see all of this as a face, and I am saying this because people don't have to struggle to access capital. You have people like Paul, you have people like myself. We have an ecosystem, a team of financial experts. We are not talking to one financial player or two or three or five. It's hundreds of financial institutions that we have access to help you navigate the world of finance. But I want to bring it back now to some of what we talk about. I believe that if people in business understand some of what we're talking about here in terms of the face of money, and if the average person understands some of what we're talking about in terms of the face of money, they can position themselves for greater financial breakthrough. I'm going to give one example, and then I'm going to close off here and then open up the floor. I could recall many, many years ago when the US stock market began to take shape. And that was since I think the US stock market established on May 17, 1792. um, Within this period, we also had credit cards. And to get persons to use credit cards, because credit cards is another face of money. And they were taking out these credit cards, and in many cases, they were given credit at 0% APR for 6 months, for a year. And guess what some smart folks were doing? They were taking the cards, they were leveraging the available funds into income producing assets, and they were making money. Robert Kiyosaki did something like that. Today, he owns thousands of properties all across the United States of America because of using credit cards. But I want to say this and I want to be clear about this. We're not saying to anybody, go and use credit card, because if you don't know what you're doing in leveraging credit card to make money, you can be throwing not one noose around your head, your neck, 10, all right? Because things can go wrong so fast because you don't know what you're doing, that you need to work with the professionals when it comes to this. And we are not giving financial advice here. Today, we're just opening up your ideas to what is possible in the financial world, in looking at the face of money, and saying to you that make contact with your professional, or if your professional can't help you navigate that, make contact with us, because we are committed to this process of really helping you to understand the landscape of money, the face of money. So I'm going to open up now on credit card and have you guys. I see Paul want to say something here. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I just want to say two things. Like one thing that Shivani said struck me. She went out and raised money for her project, and
Yes.
she collected the data. She knew it. She already knew that data. You know what I mean? Because she knows it.
Yeah.
And then she took the action steps to go get it. So it's out there. And then I want to break that down right on the street level for somebody sitting in their house right now, wondering how they're going to do this. We've got to know what it is. We already know what it is. We all said it. It's a thing that's used for it to do something. Trade it for value. You need it if you're going to open a business, then you need it. The guy or girl sitting at their house right now, early in the morning, thinking, how am I going to make this happen? There's a million ways to make it happen. Maybe not a million, but there's a lot of ways to make it happen. So you just do it.
I just
You,
went past a million, Paul.
yeah, right.
I just went past a million.
Well, we could probably come up with close to that.
Yeah.
As you said, you take on a partner. If you don't have it, grab somebody who does, make a deal. It's better to have half of something than all of nothing.
All of nothing.
And you can make that happen with partnerships quick and easy. You could flip houses. When I say partnerships, we're talking about, you might be thinking big idea, right? No, small thing, a house. Flip a single family residence.
Or take out the equity.
Yeah.
Or leverage it.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a tactic within that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see how much I'm still talking, like, let's go past a million or two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Flip
Paul.
a car. Flip cars. Flip 12 cars. Plan on making $2,000 on each car. You got $24,000 that you need to put into what your project. I'm talking like work 2 jobs, work 3 jobs for a year. If you don't have it, if you have no friends who could become your partners, you're a total loner, no friends, and I'm exaggerating because everybody's got a friend that they could approach for a smart business deal. But if you don't, then what you do is work 3 jobs for 1 year, save all your money. There's your seed money for your project. There's so many ways to do it.
But may I add, Paul, that what you're saying and what we are communicating to the community right now, everything that you're saying, what you're actually saying, that it requires a plan, because
Sure.
we have tens and tens of people are working 2, 3, 4 jobs, but they're just working those jobs because they do not have an end goal in mind. So that is what we're saying to individuals, that whatever it is that you're doing, we are encourage individuals that they need to have a plan, and not just a plan in terms of next week or tomorrow, because some people's plan is just, I just need to pay this bill, or I need to, take care of that situation, whatever that situation is. But what we're encouraging individuals to do is the concept of master planning. You need to have a big vision, because if you keep just running around the mill, being like the hamster on that wheel that is constantly turning, then you're just repeating yesterday's mistakes over and over. But then if individuals can have a decision that ask themselves the big question, and that is what we encourage people to do. You have to ask the big questions. We have to look at, this is where I am right now. Things has to change. We have to reach that point where you are tired of being tired, and you want to know, how do I get out of this situation? And then now you have to have a picture of what that good thing is, what that better is that you want to accomplish, and then you begin to plan on it. So let me just give you a story of what that looks like. In the Bible, there was this lady that her husband died, and she was about to lose her 2 sons, because they were going to take those sons to pay to work for them to work as indentured workers to pay the debt of her husband, and she could not afford to lose her sons. So she went to a consultant, which was the prophet in that village, and she asked her consultant. She says, "Look, my two sons are about to be shipped off into slavery, and I can't afford that. I just lost my husband. I can't lose my boys. I need help." And the prophet looked at her, and he said to her, "Okay, what do you have in your house? What do you have in your house?" And another, I can simplify that to say, another question that individual can ask is, what do you have in your hand? As we mentioned, that money is a store. It's the value that you take to the marketplace, right? It's not the piece of paper. You may not have the piece of paper, but you have something, a skill or an ability, an idea that you can now begin to use as a financial instrument, as an instrument by which you can attract money, means of exchange into your hands. So the lady said, the only thing that I have is some oil. And so the gentleman says, the consultant said to her, okay, this is what I want you to do. Go into your community, borrow empty vessels. Borrow empty vessels, borrow not a few. Borrow as many empty vessels that you can find. So she get every container, every empty container that every her friends and everybody can have, and she take them into her house. She spread them out all over her floor. She went back to her consultant, the prophet, and she says, "Okay, I've done what you said." Well, the prophet says, "Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take that oil that you say you have, and I want you to start pouring it out into these containers." And the lady started pouring that oil into the containers, and the miracle happened. That oil did that. What she thought was just a little bit, it continued flowed until all the containers were filled. Then she went back to her consultant, the prophet, and says, "Okay, all the containers are filled." The prophet, her consultant, says, "Okay, this is what I want you to do. Now go out into the village, sell the oil, pay your debt, and live off the rest." That is what
Well,
that one story was what begin to change my mindset. And this is where the issue is. This is where the issue
that
is.
sounds like making money when you sleep, right?
That's it. There you go. So this is what we're
The
saying.
best way to earn, right?
The problems that individuals are having, while where's money's all around, and as even as Gary was saying, um so many instruments are there that can multiply what you already have. You have something. Now the question is, how are you going to multiply that? May I dare to say, have a plan, decide on and even if you don't have a plan, here is where you can find an instrument for money, a consultant. Find somebody who is gifted, who knows how money work, and go talk to them. Get them as a friend. Get them to advise you. Let them show you what you do not see. Let them show you things about yourself that you do not see, because everybody has a special gift about them that can easily be turned into money. Join a network like this, and you'll be surprised over time. Find something, do something.
Yeah. Before coming to Shivani, I wanna hear Shivani, but I wanna Peter, you say something there, and I just gotta add a little bit to it. Developing a master plan, sometimes it may means getting uncomfortable, very uncomfortable too. The story I want to share is that I have a student, and after the programs, he said, "I see the face of money." And what he started to do is to apply himself in investing in what is known as income producing assets, real estate. One example. So every time he earned, he poured, you know, all of his excess into, refining the process and ensuring that, it has the appeal. But in the process of doing that, he was neglecting things to be done at home. So a certain degree of discomfort started at home. So he came and he discussed it, and we came to the realization that if there's no pain in most cases, there's no gain. So he had to go through that period for at least a year. But guess what happened after? After the year would have passed and that income producing asset became what it was designed to be, everyone at home now was excited. You know why? Because all the vessels were now filled and continue to be filled, and they start to see a sense of short and long term financial security. And that's what master planning is, because master plan also allows you to see what you want to accomplish. But when you combine that master plan with Shivani's skill set, project management, it allows you to see all of the moving parts to get where you want to go to. And seeing pain and accepting that this is part of the process, it makes the journey so much more excited as against not knowing what you're going to be coming up with. And project management plays a tremendous role in this. So I just wanted to share that story. Shivani, I would love to hear from you.
So, Gary, you sum me up again. That's exactly what I was going to say. Everything you are saying here, project management, all
Yeah.
the way, right? So, when Peter was speaking, what is coming to my mind always is many persons, they get they are not seeing this aspect, right? They want to get money. Well, I'll get money just to survive. You pay the bill. I love what Paul also said, which is a very, very true statement. You don't have your master plan is just to pay the bills. And you're not seeing that I'm going to probably have 4 or 5 jobs. What am I going to do with this money? Right? Is it just to pay the bill? And this is where mindset, we talk about the entrepreneurial mindset and how people could pivot out of a corporate job, into business, and I've interacted with so many persons, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to really learn this thing, right? We really, really learn, unlearn, and relearn. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. A lot of persons, that's what you need to do. So you're talking the talk, entrepreneurship. You want to set up a business. You're talking the talk, You have your market. I don't even know if you have a master plan, Paul, right? I don't even know that, right? You don't even
Yeah.
know if you have the money, but because that's what you said. Well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So you said you have a friend. Call up a friend. You must have a friend. But so my story with that innovation project.
Shivani, that cut to
Yeah,
you. Shivani, that cut to you. But on the point that you say, how can you say that you have a master plan and in developing the master plan, you didn't think that you need money to move the
you
process
need
forward? And
money.
it happens all the time. Money has to be part of the master plan. So you're perfectly correct. Go on, Shivani.
And that's what Peter is telling us. You have a master plan, but you need money. And persons are only looking for today, right? That's how
Yeah.
you're doing it. And therefore, an entrepreneur, a business person, do not think like that. You can't think. For the first 6 months, if you want to go in business, you may not have money, right? You don't have money, you're paying everything with your assets. So you have to know, you have to have belly, as we say, to handle this.
I like that one.
You have belly to handle
Say
this.
it right. Guts, 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 not belly. You gotta have guts.
You have, right? Right. You say guts, right? So I will say belly.
Belly.
Then, you know, you just have to have the idea and you do resource management. You have to resource out the thing. Now, resource out the thing could very well be you're speaking to people. You have to talk to people, as you said. This person may have the money. I don't have it, but I have the idea, and my idea will make you even more money, right? So get conversations going. Join a community, as we said. This is a great community where you could just get people to talk to, and how everything needs to get together. So my little contribution here would be to the whole talk resource management. You have an idea, so that same project I was talking about, it was my idea. I have that idea. It's a great idea, but I didn't know every aspect of the project. I needed to get different subject matter experts into it, and then, which we did. Then I needed, so I analyzed who I could really go to get the funding as well. It's a grant. I'm not going to pay back money for that, right? It's a grant, but why am I getting the money, and all those things. So so many different elements come together, but to me it's a mindset. Whether it's project management or entrepreneurial, it's a self-confidence you have to change. It's a change management mindset when you want this, because if you don't, you know what all you're going to do, you're going to have a little earnings, and every month you're waiting for your paycheck. Every month you're waiting for your paycheck. I tell persons project management can take you out of that. Can take you out of that. But you have to know how to do it. Synergy, sum is greater than its parts. Otherwise, you'll just have something written on paper. My little 7 or 8 cents there, right?
I clocked it as 20 cents.
20 cents, right? Well, I'll make 4 million.
That's sense.
Like
That's dollars right there. A whole lot of dollars right there.
Paul said that you take 400 into 4 million, okay, 20
There
cents.
you go. There you go.
You got it. Paul, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Um, something that I was thinking earlier was the founder of a company can legally raise money for their company.
Oh
Yeah.
my, yes. Oh my, yeah.
Well,
That's
but let
another.
me finish it. Let me finish that.
Yeah.
Can the founder raise money? And what I mean by that is, do they know how to raise money?
Mhm.
Because they're an expert in what they do. You're an expert at construction, you're an expert at tech, you're an expert at whatever the project is, but that doesn't mean you're an expert at raising money.
True.
And there's
Yeah.
different levels of raising money. You're trying to, I use these wide contrasts, but you're trying to raise money to buy a little shack to put up at the park and sell ice cream. How much do you need to raise? You need $5,000, $10,000, whatever. That's really small. But let's go to big projects, big ones. You're trying to raise $60 million to build a factory. How do you raise that money? Do you know that you have to comply with the Securities and Exchange Commission rules, laws, regulations? Because not everybody does. But we're on the Clubhouse app. I hear it all the time. Nobody talks about the Securities and Exchange Commission ever. And they don't talk about the fact that it costs money to raise money. You have to pay a capital raising group. So what I'm driving at here is this. We can help you with small projects. If you need equipment, that's not even raising money. You just got to come up with the down payment. If one's required, if we're helping you finance a piece of equipment. But if you're trying to build a factory or launch like Shivani's doing, if it gets to the point where she needs to raise money to fund that full project instead of just the seed money with the grant, and it probably will, because all projects need capital. Where do you get it from if you're not pulling it out of your pocket? There's different ways to do it. And you are the owner. You are legally allowed to raise money for your own company. But if you do that, if you take that task on, you have to make sure that you're compliant with the rules, laws, regulations, what exemptions to file, who you can raise money for, how many people you can raise money from, because if you're working with accredited investors versus non-accredited investors, there's different ways that you have to do that. That's a big subject. It's like trying to perform surgery on yourself. Do you really want to try to do that? Just go pay the surgeon. So if you know how to do it, then you're steps ahead. I mean, let me put it like this. As the founder of a company, if you accept money from your brother-in-law or your best friend or somebody that one of those people introduced you to, and you don't do it the right way, and that person makes a complaint, picks up the phone, calls the SEC and says, they didn't tell me this. Even if you told it to them, if you didn't advise them of that in the right way through paperwork, there's a way to do it. Then that's you're in violation. Or if you just didn't do anything SEC, you just took the money and wrote it on an agreement that you wrote at your kitchen table, because people do that. There's a way to do it. And then those are the bad results. Let me hit you with the good results of working with experts. Least expensive money first as compared to straight equity. There's a way to structure a capital raise if you're raising money. Some projects you can only take equity in. Tech ideas, internet sales things. There's lenders who finance that. That's only going to be equity. But if you're building a factory, you got real estate, there's local government money that you can maximize. That is inexpensive money. There's grant money. Probably not all industries have grant money, but grant money is free. Local government money is cheap. Move into other markets if they're raising capital for you, like bond money. That's much less expensive than investor money. So I know that was a long ramble, but that all takes me back to this. The founder can raise money. That's true. But can the founder raise money? With a question mark. Can they really pull it off?
Yeah. Those are some gems. It's called private equity capital because the business in itself, it is registered. If you register in the right way, where it can issue shares, and you can do that privately as against going to IPO. So I really love that. But you did mention the SEC, which is the Security Exchange Commission. And just to give a little backdrop on that, the SEC, Security Exchange Commission, it was established in 1934. That's quite a number of years ago, 1934. And the SEC was established to regulate the financial sector. There are four main areas. There is what you call the Division of Corporate Finance. As time progressed, myself and Paul, we will do a deep dive into these divisions: the Division of Corporate Finance, the Division of Trade and Market. And here's where you will learn a lot about derivatives. There's so much for us to talk about here. We have forward, future, swap, and option derivatives. We haven't gone into that yet. As time progresses, we're going to look at that. The SEC governs all of this. There's also the Division of Investment Management. And earlier on, I talked about the Global Intermediary. Those are all investment management institutions because they manage funds for various institutions. The last element of the SEC is what you call the Division of Enforcement. There's a division that is set up to enforce the laws that governs the SEC. And of course, one of the reasons Paul would continue to emphasize this is because we have seen in the world, there are many institutions set up as raising funds and investing funds, and it turned out to be a Ponzi scheme. So the reason that Paul would talk a lot about the SEC regulation and how compliant he and his team is to the SEC is to communicate very clearly that there's no jittery popery and shenanigans that is taking place with his team of players because they comply with the SEC. As time progresses, we will do that deep dive into this. So, Paul, there's so many faces to money, man. You don't have to struggle with money and accessing capital. Reach out to Paul, reach out to us. We have a team of subject matter experts that is committed and is passionate about providing these type of information to you to ensure that you win with money. All right, so we're going to begin to wrap up now. I'm going to start with Peter. Peter, do give us your last thoughts on the subject matter, and give us your closing remarks.
Yeah, and what we want to say, I want to use what Paul usually say: "You're approved. You are approved.
You are approved.
You are approved." And where I want individuals to understand to win, where the face of money is concerned, is to understand that you are a gift to life. That's where you need, and because it starts with the breaking that mindset that where money is concerned, because for most people, they do not see it because of the mindset that they have, the way how they think about money. So money is in their hands, money is in their partnership, money is all around them. The earth is is a place of abundance, but most people will not see that, or may I say, some people. I won't go as far as to say a lot of people will not see it because of the way how they think. So we have to undo that mindset. And the way how you undo that mindset, you have to understand that there is a value. There is a value on who you are. Every individual was sent on the earth, sent into the earth plane to solve a problem. The problem with life is that most people, or a great number of people, do not understand the problem that they were sent into the earth to solve. And because of that, they become the problem. When you do not know the problem, then it means that you're a part of the problem. So, what we ask individuals to do is to understand that they are a part of the solution. Their life is a solution to a problem. And when now they begin to search for the problem that they were designed to solve, then there is a cost. There is a cost for that search. And that is why Paul will mention that there is a cost for capital, there's a cost for raising money, there's a cost for your existence, there is a cost for your life. Even if you do nothing at all, even if we just sit here and even if somebody go live under the bridge, there is a cost for life. So we ask individuals is, what is the cost for your life? What is the cost of your existence? There's a cost for your existence. Just to exist, there is a cost. You have to eat. Even if you're living just under the bridge, you have to eat. There's a cost for that. That space under the bridge that somebody will go, somebody had to build the bridge in the first place for them to find a place under it. There is a cost for existence. But we do not just want to exist. Our goal is to impact society, impact the community. And what is the cost? What is it going to cost for you to do the kind of impact that you need to do? There is a plan. And that is why now you have to have that broad vision of your life, the solution. What is it? Why are you here? Who am I? And I'm always going to go back to that, because I think the world's problem, all the problems in the world, can be solved with two questions. Every problem in the world can be solved tomorrow morning with just two questions. Go look in the mirror and ask yourself the question, who am I? Then spend some time by yourself in a quiet place. Or let me say this, let me rephrase that. Go look in the mirror and ask yourself the question, who are you? Because you have to stand outside of yourself, right? And then you got to ask the question, look yourself eye to eye. Who are you? And take time to write. You need data. Everything needs data. You got to write something down, because you're going to need something to build on. And then you go back now and you look from within yourself. Now go from within and you ask the question, who am I? And those two questions will give you a lot of data that now you can look at, okay, how am I going to package this? Those questions that you ask is going to bring about your inventory. You're going to understand what you're good at. You're going to understand your gifts and your abilities, the oil that is in your house. Your body is a house. So the prophet asked the lady, or the consultant asked the lady, what's in your house? The question I want to ask you is, what's in your house? What are the gifts and the abilities that you have? Because within those gifts and abilities are a wealth of information, a wealth that somebody, all right, let me just break it down in saying this. Somebody out there now, they are sitting there and they don't know they don't have money. They don't have this, and they're looking at what they don't have. What I'm saying to you is this. We operate a program that we say just 50 questions. You ask yourself 50 questions. We call it Legacy Chronicles. You need a self-inventory check. where you go back into your past. Go back into your past from your earliest memory. Break your life into 5-year intervals and look at those every 5 year. You take as much information. Ask yourself that those two questions over and over into 5-year intervals, all the way up to where you are today. You'll find a wealth of information. Then what you'll also find is that there are some things that you're extremely good at, some things that you have done. You're good at some kind of a skill. You have, offered some kind of advice to people that you yourself has been using, and you think that it is just a little thing. No, I'm saying if you package that thing into a book, into a course that can be used into a seminar, a webinar, some kind of value by which you can present it to the community, people will give you money for what you know. And so that is where we're saying that you are approved. Just package yourself in the right way. Now you might need a consultant, because all that we're saying right now is a great deal. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. So what we're saying, reach out to us or find somebody in your network who can come alongside with you, give you some, help you to see what you don't see, to see the big picture. But you need a master plan. And when you begin to work it out with individuals in your network, you'll be surprised in a year, 2 years, 3 years, you're looking back at now. Let me say this finally. You're going into 2024, do your New Year's resolution, but do better than your New Year's resolution. This is a time when you need to design a master plan, and you'll be surprised next year. This time you're looking back at, then you said you were glad that you watched this program, The Competitive Edge.
All right, thanks for that share, Peter. I now want to come to Shivani and to talk to us about, give us our closing remarks and talk to us about your brand. Go ahead, Shivani.
So, Gary, in terms of everything here we're talking about, money and the importance really of money with projects and integrating projects with life, for me, I look at data. I think that is what Paul was also saying, and Peter and yourself. It's about data. So you may have an idea. So many of us, like I will have lots and lots and lots of ideas. And I really want to know how this is going to evolve. I may not know. So I have to analyze that. I have to collect data. I have to research. And it's a piece of the pie that I like to say that is missing. You may just be collecting the data and you don't do anything with it. You need now to convert that into real knowledge. This is where a community of practice comes into play. And I look at us, this is a community of practice where we will be able to provide information and persons can turn it into their relevant knowledge, because everybody will be able to get data, but converting that data into knowledge is going to make the difference now. This is where your particular master plan will come into play, right? And each of us would have a different way of doing it. And that's what you have to remember. You are not the same as me. Your beliefs may not be the same as mine, but that's all right. That's all right. Turn data into knowledge and keep that in mind. That's how, when you want to get the money, as you continuously saying, when you go to Paul to get approved, you need to turn data into knowledge, and you need people to help you to do that. Just by talking, we are not persons that like to do that, right? We don't really believe in a collaborative way. But to me, that is really what makes the difference, a collaborative approach. Right here, I took a lot of good notes in terms of things that I didn't know already. So I'm collaborating with you to ensure that it happens good. Thanks, Gary. Thanks, everybody.
I love that, Shivani. None of us know everything, and through the collaboration, we can truly move mountains. So I love that statement. Paul, the man with the money, the face of money is right in front of me. Paul. You're mute, Paul. You're mute.
I think I got a good one, you guys. I should have read this when we had that um, interview about leadership. But
Yeah.
so always, I'm gonna relate this to money. Always remember that leadership is a privilege. When you're in a leadership role, your influence may affect the trajectories of people's entire careers and often their lives. Let's relate that to money. Always remember that having money is a privilege. When you have money and you spend it, the way you spend it may affect the trajectories of people's lives and businesses. So I'm relating that same thing, just plugging in a few things. So, what does that mean? That means that all these bullet points, not necessarily in the right order, that means that use it for good, number one, because you can do that. If you're spending money, make sure that everybody with you makes money. Everybody. 3 people, 4 people, 5 people down the line. Everybody. The lender's got to make money. You got to be okay with that. Don't nitpick. Your partner's got to make money. If you're paying referral fees, pay good ones. Don't be cheap, because cheap people don't get people calling them back. So spend it in good ways. Don't be greedy. If you make some, you have more than you had. I mean, just make your profit margins, of course, but make sure everybody gets good along the way with you. Stop worrying about money. Stop. Now it's out there. There's so much of it out there. Stop worrying about it. If you got a great idea, a great that nobody's ever heard of, and it truly is transformational, you gotta open your mouth. You got to find out how to get the word out there, but you will get money. If you want to flip a house because you're buying a house for 60% of the value of the house, you put some carpet and paint it, and that's going to go up there. That's a project. Somebody will want to invest in that with you. Find somebody. It's probably a family or a friend. And do that 10 times, and then you got a chunk of money for yourself that you don't need partners. Don't be mad at money. Remember that one, Gary? Don't be mad at money. Well,
Exactly.
stop being mad at it. Stop being afraid of it, and don't be mad at
Hmm.
it. Go get it. Go be friends with it. Don't be mad. Don't even dislike it. Okay. Do the project, buy the business, live that life. Stop worrying, because there's so much of it out there. Just stop worrying about it. Go ask for it. Somebody's got it. They're willing to give it to you if you got a good project. And when you get it, do some good things with it. Help some people. And that's my take on it so far.
All right. Thanks for that share, Paul. Um, and I really trust that the general public took a lot away from today's program. In conclusion, I just want to go through some of the things that would have been true, and I want to give a short comment on Shivani's statement. Now, the face of money, you have bank loan, you have private equity investment, you have public equity, you have IPO, you have LBOs, you have merger and acquisition, you have joint venture and partnership, you have sovereign wealth funds, you have pension funds, insurance funds, accredited investors, high net worth investors, super high net worth investor, venture capital. Oh, the list goes on. I'm saying all of this to really get people to understand that money comes in all different forms. All right. And as Shivani would have said, and we continue to emphasize on this platform, you need data. All right. You need data. I talk about data collection, data analytics, and data up leveling. You need to up level data in all the decisions that you're making. So, with that being said, again, this program came to you with the kind compliments of Pitch Deck 101 LLC, Global Capital Inc., and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York. And I really trust that you would have enjoyed today's program. We are going to be here tomorrow again. So call a friend, tell a friend that we are going to be here. So, with that being said, I want to say shout out to everybody and do enjoy the rest of the day and the rest of the week.